Imagine you decide to go get lunch one day at Chipotle. You pull up, you're really excited to get your burrito bowl. You walk inside, there's no line. Hallelujah, thank you, Lord. You walk up to the counter, and there's only one person there to take your order. You think, this is odd, but you go ahead and make your order anyway. You get your Chipotle bowl, you get your barbacoa, your brown rice, your blackened pinto beans, your fajitas, the sour cream, the cheese, the lettuce, the salsa. Everything looks so good. The same person that is making your burrito bowl is getting ready to cash you out, and then they say, hold on a minute. They turn around, and then they go flip the chicken on the grill. And then the phone rings, and they go, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. They answer the phone. While you're waiting to check out, all you got to do is press your credit card down on the credit card machine to pay for your burrito bowl, and this person is on the phone. Then an Uber driver walks in and has an order that they need to pick up. This individual gives the Uber driver their order, and they leave while you're still waiting to pay. Then they have to go into the back to get some other ingredients that are missing for the front. Then they notice that there's a dirty spot on the floor, so they go to mop it while you're still waiting to pay. Finally, you go to check out, and you get to pay for your food, and then the lemonade is empty. So now this person has to go fill your lemonade. And you're wondering, why is there only one person doing everything at this Chipotle? Where are all the other employees? This is exactly what it's like to be a reseller. Not only do we juggle so many hats as a reseller, like I said in my first video, which if you haven't watched it, please go back and watch that. It's a little bit of a loose cannon video. This is going to be a little bit more focused, but as resellers, we do so much and people don't realize it. And sometimes we don't realize it. And that's what I really want to talk about today, is realizing how much we actually do and break that down and figure out a way, kind of navigate this life of a reseller into making it a healthy lifestyle. Because not only are we our own bosses, but we are also the employees, we are also the janitors, we're also the accountants, we're also the everything else that comes into being a reseller, and it's a lot of work. So first off, you need to pat yourself on the back. If you are even a part-time or a full-time reseller, you should definitely give yourself a pat on the back and be proud of yourself, because you are a one-man or one-woman team. Just like at Chipotle, if there was one person in there, you'd probably be a little frustrated that it took a while to pay, but you'd honestly look at that person and go, dang, that's pretty impressive. This person's cooking the chicken, replacing the beans, making my burrito bowl, charging me, giving the Uber order their food, writing down a schedule, putting the money in the cash box, counting everything out at the end of the day, cleaning and wiping everything down, sanitizing the stations, and then clocking out. That's a lot of work. And that's what we do on a daily basis as resellers. Some of us have more strict schedules than others. Some of us are more loosey-goosey, and I think that's okay as well. I don't think there's one necessary way to succeed as a reseller. I think that the more organized you are, the more productive you can be. And I think the more that you plan out your days, your weeks, your month, kind of like Chris Daily Refinement, how he teaches it, I think that you can accomplish more in your day, or like the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, you can get more done in a shorter period of time because you're less distracted and you already know what your day looks like for tomorrow. I think it's really important to break down these things as resellers or as entrepreneurs or business owners, because these things kind of get pushed to the wayside as we deal with the day-to-day operations of the business. Listing, shipping, sourcing, cleaning items, sanitizing items, taking the photographs, all the kind of stuff that goes into the day-to-day operations, where at the end of the day, sometimes we don't even feel like we did enough, and yet we are exhausted. And those types of things can take a toll on our physical bodies, our mental health, our emotional state. It can affect the way we treat our friends and family, and all of that can kind of just build up and be a really toxic part of the business if we don't talk about these things. We don't figure out ways to release stress, to take time off, to strategize our businesses, to organize, to have days for sourcing, maybe days for organizing, days for accounting, or little bits of that throughout the day. So those types of things, You have to figure out what works for you. This video isn't to give you a one secret recipe onto how to be a reseller with the perfect life, because ultimately I don't think there is. Like I mentioned in the previous video as well, I have 2 kids, I'm married, I have responsibilities to the church that I go to on Wednesdays and Sundays, not only as a member of the church, but as a volunteer in different departments that I help out with. I have parents that I try to spend time with my mother, with my dad when he's in town, with my wife's mother when available, and we have all sorts of other extracurricular activities. My son plays hockey, so my life may not look like your life, and that means my reselling life is not going to look like your reselling life. However, I think that there are bits and pieces that we can take from other resellers' lives and YouTube channels and Instagram pages that we follow, and take nuggets from each of those and apply them to our own business. I think that a lot of us are so stubborn in only having the daily refinement method, or only having the tech and sports method, or only having one specific model and way to do things, that we kind of get a little bit narrow-minded and then realize that, well, at the time, Daily Refinement didn't have kids when he was making those styles of videos. Now he's got a baby, so I'm sure things have changed for Chris just as much as the next person. And no hate against Chris. I think he's one of the smartest people that has made content in the reselling community, and how organized and structured his days are. But I think that, again, each person is different. I don't have a wholesale provider like Chris does, where he was getting pallets and pallets of products. So I would find myself at the bins, or I would find myself sourcing at the racks at regular thrift stores. And so there's so many different factors that go into each of our own businesses. We have to remind ourselves to take a step back and realize it's okay to be in the position that we are in. If you're not happy with the position that you're in, then of course you have to make change. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I mentioned this in the previous video as well. If you are struggling in your area, as much as I love dogging on Florida Goodwills, I can still get decent product, and I can still find enough inventory at flea markets, bins, thrift stores, all sorts of stuff to make a decent living for my family. But if I was in a position where I was frustrated and I still wasn't making the money I wanted to make, I would consider moving. So maybe if you're watching this, that could be the solution to your problem. I know a not friend, but an acquaintance of mine through Instagram. He was in Miami, and he just up and moved his entire family to Texas, and now he is absolutely killing it on eBay and Poshmark because he had connections in Texas that he could get to. So that's great for him. Again, just to reiterate the fact that everybody's business is different, you can look at other people's ways of sourcing, methods of shipping, ways of getting product, ways of shipping your product, all sorts of different categories, and you can apply those to your business and find the ones that make you happy, that make you enjoy reselling, that make you find success. For me, having a shed when I first started reselling was a major goal of mine. I had started watching Lonnie Garage Flips, now Shed Flips, and the Getaway Gang, and all the different channels that he has. But that motivated me because I didn't want all my inventory in my house. As I was building my reselling business, the idea of the shed sounded and worked really well for me because I had space in my backyard. The price was fairly inexpensive, and I could use my reselling profit to pay for that shed versus getting a storage unit, which I had for the longest time. And I was just losing money renting at the storage unit when I upgraded. Then I had to leave my house to go pack my sales, leave my house to go put inventory away. And that just got really frustrating and really annoying for me. So I worked really hard to make the shed happen for me. So that inspired me to want to have a shed. So that was a big takeaway for me from watching another YouTuber. For me, I started getting really involved in selling clothing and shoes. And so I had to create a system that worked for me. I didn't want to put my shoes in a clear plastic bag and then have them in boxes like Daily Refinement. That method for me wasn't very effective for the shelving that I bought, and I didn't want to go back and change that. So what I did is I went to Costco and I got big bins. I think they're like 47 gallon or whatever they are. Big gallon black bins with the yellow lids. They were like $8 or $9 a piece at the time. And then I labeled each bin for sizes for men's and women's. And before that, I just had all my shoes on portable shoe racks, or the shoe racks that were the ones that you could build like from Amazon or whatever with the little paper things. And those fell and broke multiple times in my shed. So I got really frustrated, put metal shelving in my shed, and then did the bin system, which for me worked really well because I had probably about 400 or 500 pairs of shoes. So each size had about 3 bins per size for men's and women's. And I was able to fit those perfectly on those shelves, and it took up way less space, and it was very fruitful for me. Now, as you can see, I do have some inventory in my office right now because as I started streaming on Whatnot, that was a platform that I had added to my business at one point, which I still do. I bring that stuff into my office and sell through my home where I can have a ring light and air conditioning and good Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. So my method is a little bit different now, but I still bring and put most of my inventory into my shed. That's just one aspect of how you can take somebody else's business practices, if yours aren't working, and apply them to yours to make it more effective or more fruitful for your business and how you're running it. I think we have to give a little bit more credit to ourselves than credit is due, if that's the right way to say that, because we as resellers have to admit that we cannot be great at every single category in reselling. No matter who you are, you either need help, you need a team, or you lose sleep, or you go insane, you get burnt out, you get tired. If you try to master every single category, that's why in business, delegation is so important. When hiring employees, you delegate somebody at Chipotle to cook the chicken, somebody to work the cash register, somebody to do the scheduling for next week for all the employees so they know what crew is, somebody to mop the floors at the end of the night. If one person had to do it all, they wouldn't last very long in that industry because they would just get burnt out. And we as resellers have to understand that we literally are doing all of those things. So we need to find the balance in how to do that. I think one of the best ways to find the balance is, again, to take a step back and to observe our businesses as a moving whole and say what we like, what we don't like, what we love to do, what we can do, and then what we absolutely hate doing in our business. Once you can figure out those 3 main categories, which kind of goes to the application of a book that I read called The 6 Working Geniuses. I would highly recommend reading that book if you haven't read it. It really helped change my perspective on the way that I look at my business. And there are certain categories, again, that I love to be a part of. I love to engage in. I love to sell. I love to live stream on Whatnot. I love to thrift, obviously. I like finding stuff at the bins. I have no problem cleaning stuff, taking photos, listing. That's all stuff I can do, but I'm not driven by that stuff. I'm driven by finding cool inventory. I'm driven by being live on Whatnot and maybe entertaining some people and making some money at the same time. Then I don't like maybe the organization side, the accounting side. So as I'm talking about this, I'm also reflecting on my own business going, okay, well, what parts do I not like doing and that stress me out? And can I delegate that to somebody else so that my business can be more effective, so that my time is better used sourcing instead of sitting behind a computer and typing in every single sale that I made on what platform and how much fees it cost. So luckily, I have my wife who's able to help me with that. If you don't have that, then maybe that is for a period, something that you do have to engage in. But as your business grows, maybe you can find somebody to do that for you at the end of the week. If you keep good track of your receipts and stuff, you can pay someone a couple of hours. Bookkeeping really doesn't take that long, but it's one of those things that we always put off, just like death piles. It really doesn't take that long to do bookkeeping. So you could pay someone maybe 3-4 hours a week at $20 to $25 an hour is more than most 9-to-5 jobs are paying right now. And someone can come in and do the bookkeeping while you're outsourcing. And it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be someone from another job or the workforce if you're part-time. Maybe the accountant at your full-time job may want to do this and help you part-time and make a little extra side money late at night or something like that. So thinking outside the box as you reflect on your own business is a great way to figure out how you can be more productive in your time spent. If you don't want to spend 12 hours a day working on your business, listing, shipping, photographing, sourcing, cleaning, organizing, bookkeeping, all this kind of stuff, you have to find the things that you're good at and figure out how you can focus more on doing that and doing less of the stuff that takes more time or that you get distracted. You find yourself scrolling Instagram or TikTok instead of doing your books or something like that, where you can be more productive. If you are a great bookkeeper, like my friend Justin, the flippin' accountant, I'm sure that he maybe has more pleasure in doing that side of the business than maybe the sourcing. As he was an Amazon seller, now I can't speak for him, but he comes up in my mind because obviously he has a CPA license. Maybe if he could find a wholesaler that can get Legos for him, or if he can find a provider that will go out and source Lego clearance for him at Walmart, and all he has to do is the Amazon fulfillment and then his own bookkeeping, maybe he would be a lot happier. Maybe he loves the sourcing and actually hates the bookkeeping, but because he is a bookkeeper, he can just do it and it's not that big of a deal to him. So keep those things in mind when you're running on your own business, and your time is obviously valuable. Your time on the business, your time sourcing, shipping, etc. But not only that, for your health, your time with your family, your time with your friends, your time outside of the business. We can get caught up in constantly working, constantly grinding, constantly saying, I gotta list one more item, I gotta ship one more item, I gotta do all these things, and it actually never ends. Unless you have X amount of items that you have to ship and you get those done. You get what I'm saying. But the wheel of reselling, it's always going to be there tomorrow. Just like somebody who clocks in and clocks out of a job, they go home with no stress at the end of the day. If I clock out and I walk out of my office, I'm still thinking about, oh, I hope more sales come in. Or if I get offers, should I accept them today? Should I counter? What should I do? All those things are constantly on my mind. But we have to make sure that we are making time for peace. For me, I have found one thing that's really helped for me is working out in the mornings. I take my son to school, and that's a little bit of extra time that I get to spend with him, whereas I was working till 1 or 2 in the morning listing and then sleeping in. Now I wake up early, I take my son to school, and then I go to the gym and I work out for an hour, and then I usually go straight to the bins, or I come home and I list if I already have inventory. By the time 1 o'clock comes around for lunch, I've probably already finished my sourcing at the bins for the day, or I've got all of my listings and shipping done for the day at the office. And it's only lunchtime. Then I'm free to enjoy the rest of the day or work more on the business if I want to without feeling like I have to keep playing catch up. My son does hockey twice a week. So I want to always be there for his practices. And so maybe that's something that you haven't prioritized in your life, is spending more time with family or doing something that you enjoy, whether it's watching a Netflix series or playing an outdoor sport or an activity. I like to play disc golf, so I try to play that once a week as well. But working out has really helped me. I feel better. I'm eating healthier. I'm drinking a lot of water. I've cut soda and sugar out of my diet. So again, that's another thing that's probably a whole nother video. But if you are not eating healthy, I guarantee you it's taking a toll on your reselling business, because your physical health, your emotional state, your mental state, all of that's affected if you're constantly drinking soda, eating candy bars, eating junk food, getting fast food because you don't feel like cooking, because you think you need to be spending more time listing and shipping rather than cooking a healthy meal. That will catch up to you, I promise you. And I urge you and I implore you to take your physical health seriously. Eat healthy foods. Find something that you can start with and make baby steps. Just like with this reselling topic that I'm bringing up today, take baby steps with this. You don't have to have one big explosion overnight of a complete inventory overhaul. If you need to organize your inventory better, like me, I'm guilty of it. Ask Joey. He will tell you I'm guilty of not having a great organized system for my inventory, and I'm working on it. A little bit a day. Take 1 hour away from maybe watching Netflix or 1 hour away from sourcing per day, and spend an extra hour recategorizing your inventory so it's easier to find. That one day over a week or two, and you're done, versus trying to think it's going to take me 14 hours to do this and you have to do it all in one day. You actually don't. And it's very important to make sure that you are categorizing these areas of your life because once you get to the point where you start getting depressed, real lonely, you stop reaching out to friends, you stop talking to family because the burdens and the weight of the business really start affecting you, that's when you just start falling into really dark and toxic territory, because then you have no motivation for your business. You don't want to go out of the house. You don't want to spend time with your friends. You don't want to tell your family that you're struggling. And realistically, we need those kinds of opportunities to tell and talk to people in our lives about that kind of stuff, which is why I'm even making these videos, to let you know, if you're watching this, that you're not alone. I'm here and I struggle with these same things. I'm just being really vulnerable and telling you guys on camera so that there is some relatability here, because I struggle with sometimes slow sales, or not wanting to reorganize my shed, or throwing away items, or taking offers that are lower than what I'd like to get for certain items on eBay. And all of those things take a huge mental toll on me. And so, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm still a dad, I'm still a husband, I'm still a friend, I'm still a member of a church, and I have responsibilities to my family, to my friends, to my church, to God, to be a example, to be someone that my children can look up to be a leader to my wife, somebody that she can see as that she has a strong partner, and that I'm her best friend, that she can rely on me, and I'm not just this down, depressed, frustrated business owner who gets to work for myself, but I'm just as miserable as a reseller as if I were to have a 9-to-5. I'm not that way, thank God, but you can get to that place really quickly. So you have to build yourself up. You have to stay strong. Obviously, for me, I am a man of faith. Reading the Bible has been something that is helping me. And I used to not be as consistent in that in a daily basis. And I've made that a goal this year to read the Bible every single day. And so those types of things, just building habits in my life outside of reselling, are causing me to see the benefits of those and then apply those consistencies, like working out and reading, to my reselling business as well. And so real life applications are being brought into my reselling business, and I'm learning how to apply those things on a day-to-day basis. In conclusion for today's video, don't beat yourself up. Take baby steps, work on yourself, try to become better. If you drink 6 Cokes a day, try to drink 5, then go to 4, then go to 3, then go to 2, then go to Coke Zero, then try to take as much of that out of your diet as possible. If you struggle with bookkeeping, try to do it at the end of each day for 15 minutes or 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be long, but just get started. If you haven't done any bookkeeping since January and you know you need to do some, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then treat yourself to an ice cream, or as Hustle at Home Mom would say, she treats herself to a Chick-fil-A, or something along those lines, where you can actually be encouraged by goals and then celebrate those goals. You don't have to celebrate by spending a ton of money, but you can celebrate yourself, and that will give you self-motivation to be able to accomplish more goals in your reselling business. I have a lot more I can talk about. As you guys know, I am a rambler. I love it. Thank you guys for all the support on my last video. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for all the comments. If you made it all the way to the end of today's video, say motivation in the comments below so I know you made it to the end, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's video. Let me know something that maybe you need to take a step back on and get some perspective in your business or in your own personal life, and try to figure out a way to apply better and be a little bit healthier in those practices. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.